Welcome back, or welcome to the Heartmoor podcast. My name is Stacey and I am a knitter, crocheter based in Devon in the southwest of England, and I live here with my husband and my three beautiful daughters. If you watched the last podcast, thank you very much by the way if you did, but if you watched the last podcast, you'll realise that it's the summer holidays here in England at the moment, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to squeeze in another podcast before the end of the summer holidays. So today is Monday the 25th of August. This time next week it will be September, and in my book that means autumn. And yeah, I'll be back at work and the kids will be back at school and I just won't get a chance to podcast. So it's been about three and a half weeks since the last one. So I have got a bit of knitting, obviously, as it's been the holidays. I've had a bit more time. My kids and my husband have been camping all weekend. I think last time I recorded they were away camping and they've gone away this weekend again camping. I'm not a camper. I do other things, but I don't like camping. I don't find it comfortable. There's lots of things I don't like about camping, but that's fine because he goes with his brother and then he goes with a friend and their children, and their partners don't go either, so it's like a men-children bonding camping thing, which works out for everybody. So, and they're back this afternoon, so I'm recording this morning. I'm in a different location, mainly because I want to be able to stand up and show you something, and I can't do that where I normally sit very easily, but it's quite warm today. Now it's definitely cooler than it was sort of at the beginning, middle of August. I think today's maximum temperature is about 22 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but I look at the weather app every day. I'm a little tiny bit obsessed with weather, and on Wednesday this week it drops below 20 for the first time since I think like beginning of June, and that's ridiculous. That's unheard of. So and Wednesday onwards, as far as I can see, the temperature looks like it's going to be below 20. Now to me that's like glorious. I can't wait. I'm very excited for Wednesday, and I hope that no silly sort of weather fronts come in and ruin that for me. Apologies to all of those who love summer. I'm not one of those people. Oh, where can you find me? That's probably a good thing to add in. I'm still not very fluid with speaking to the camera, so apologies. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Heartmoor, and I am sporadic. I look every day, but I don't necessarily post that often. But you can find me over on Instagram and Ravelry. So I haven't got any finished objects today, but I've definitely made some progress on some of my works in progress. And I thought I'd talk through some of my autumn plans as well, because I do have some exciting autumn plans. I'm not wearing any knitwear because it's stupid hot today, but I am wearing my t-shirt. So this was a birthday present from my wonderful friend Sari from the Ollie and Bella podcast. And this is a design from Rebecca Clow, who is the Corriedale. Stand up a bit so you can see it. And this is one of her t-shirt designs that Sari bought me for my birthday. I'm not sure if Rebecca's currently selling any t-shirts. I know she said she was going to stop the sale of them soon, but she will be coming back with more designs, more colours. So hopefully that will be in the autumn term. So if you don't have one and you would like one, keep a lookout on her Instagram page. But I love it. It's really lovely material. It's really thick. So it's actually quite warm today. I'll be taking it off as soon as I've recorded and putting something cooler on. But it's a lovely t-shirt for autumn and spring. It's a little bit hot for me for summer, but I do love it. So I'm wearing this today. So technically kind of knitwear-y. Right, what should we start with? Let's start with, not that one, I'll do that one last. Sorry, I've got stuff, because I'm in a different location. I've got a chair there, you're on my dining table, and I've just got stuff everywhere. So, right, what did you see last time? Oh, I've got stuff I'm just going to dump things on chairs. Excuse me, I should have come into this more prepared, shouldn't I? What is in here? No, that's a future plan. You can tell I'm not regular. Okay, let's do this. So last time I recorded, I had started a pair of socks for my husband, and he is very knit worthy. He's got a couple of pairs of socks and he does wear them all the time. Every week he's wearing them. So he definitely deserves more. And on a recent trip to the John Arbon textile mill and little pop-up shop, he picked some colours of yarn. So he picked the Devon Naturals 4-ply. I don't think this is a sock yarn, but it was in the sock yarn section. So we're going with it, and if it has holes, I'll just darn it. So this is the John Arbon Textiles Devon Natural 4-ply in the colour Zadie. I don't know if that's the name of the sheep or if that's just the colour, and it's 100% Swartles. I've absolutely no idea if I said that properly. Hopefully you can see that 100% Swartles in the colour, well, the colour Zadie. Whether that's the sheep or not, I don't know. And this is the yarn. It's a really beautiful dark brown. You can see all those like sheepy hairs in it. It really smells like sheep. I love it. So yeah, this is what he chose, this lovely dark brown. It's an absolute pig to knit with. Apart from the fact that it's super dark, it's actually quite fluffy. And the stitches are quite hard to count. But I think I've just cast on literally and done a couple of rows of the cuff last time you saw me. I haven't done much more. Where are we? Let's get it out. So here we go. I do keep track of all I wouldn't never be able to count on this anyway, but I do always keep track every 10 rows of when I'm knitting. So I am knitting these on 2.5mm DPNs. I cast on 72 stitches because he's a UK size 10.5, so that's quite a big foot. I did 25 rounds of 2x2 ribbing, and I have done the heel flap and turn, and I'm just about to start the gusset stitches. As you can see, it's quite hard to see the individual stitches on here, and you can see like how fluffy it is. It's gonna pill like a pig. Yeah, but look at it. It's a really beautiful yarn, and it's nice to work with. It's quite grippy, so I do enjoy working with it. So that's really where I am on the first one. I'm just doing a vanilla sock, just my own recipe. I kind of know how to knit a vanilla sock by now. I always do about 25 rounds of ribbing, slip stitch, heel flap and gusset. I'll knit down his foot until I get to the toe, and I'll do a wedge toe. So hopefully I'll pick that up again soon. I just need to get through the gusset stitches. I'm dreading them. I don't enjoy it. It's the least part of the sock that I enjoy. I love the heel, slip stitch heel and heel flap and turn. I don't enjoy gusset stitches. So once I've got through those, it'll be a whiz. And these are actually in a little bag. I don't normally show my project bags, but in France, there's a place called, in Normandy, right at the top of France, there's a place called Le Mont-Saint-Michel. And it's a beautiful old nunnery cathedral. I'm not quite sure what it is. Church, cathedral, I'm not sure. It was a nunnery. I think it still is. But you go up this like winding, it's on the peninsula on a mountain, so it's surrounded by water when the tide comes in, and when the tide goes out, it's surrounded by beach. But they've built a walkway to it now, so you can get to it any time of year. And you go up these like little alleys, and they're just crammed full of shop. It reminds me of Diagon Alley actually, and we took the girls there 2 years ago, and I said, oh, look at this, we're going to this beautiful place, and it's absolutely crammed full of little tiny shops and cafes and restaurants and bars and everything. And they didn't believe me until we literally entered through this gate, and they were like, oh my God, it's amazing. And this is the bag I bought there. So Le Mont-Saint-Michel, cute little bag. I love it for socks. Right, whip one. Next work in progress is one that you've seen before. Let's do the one that you've seen before because that makes more sense. So this is my self-drafted Lay Family Yarns sock set blanket. Lay Family Yarn are doing a club this year called Santa's Secret Sock Set, and every month you get a sock set in a colour that you haven't seen beforehand. and the idea is that you make 12 pairs of socks for Christmas. I'm making a blanket. It's self-drafted, it's crochet, and I am up to date right through till August. So everyone should have received their August colourways. I've actually got my September one here, but I'm not going to show you that because it only came last week and I don't know if everyone's received theirs. So I'll show you September's next time, but which is the front, this is the front. And I am basically, hang on, I'm going to have to stand up for this. This is why we have this fantastic new location. Can I fit that all on camera? Yes, I can, look at that. So as you can see, we've got 8 squares for 8 months so far. The middle is the mini and the outside is the main skein of yarn, just crocheted up until it runs out, or until it's the right same number of edges as same number of stitches on each edge, so I can join them effectively. It's really, really beautiful. I'll come a bit closer so you can see. So this is all in moss stitch. Again, it's just a self-drafted design. So we've got like browns and reds, greens, pinks, blues, more sort of reddy oranges, pinky purples, and a lovely green one on the end. That's actually my favourite, this one here. This was Christmas tree, can't remember what month that is. So this is my sock set blanket. If anyone, I don't know if it needs to be a pattern. It's quite basic. It's just a moss stitch square, and then I'm joining as you go. So I'm just slip stitching. You can see the ridge on the front and on the back. Although having said that, the back with moss stitch is pretty similar. There's no ridge, so you can have it either way around. I'm using a, what colour hook, what size hook am I using? Hang on a minute. 5mm, I think. Yep. 5mm crochet hook. And like I say, I'm just knit. I get the mini out. I knit the mini out, and then I just add on the main 100-gram skein and knit until I've got the right number of stitches, and join it to the previous square. So that is my blanket, on course for finishing on time for December. This is just in a tape bag, Ancient and Brave. They're just a company that sell collagen sachets and other things. Nothing exciting, nothing to do with knitting, but it's a really good sized tote. Okay, that was work in progress number 2. Work in progress number 3 is one you haven't seen before. Which bag's that? That one. I've actually got 4 works in progress at the moment. That's a little more than I don't really count blankets though, do we? More than I usually do. So I haven't got a picture of this, so I'll try and put a picture in here. If I remember to do some editing, I'm going to have to do editing for this one because I'm going to have to put pictures in of my future plans. So I'll put a picture in here. This is the Sunday morning shawl. It's a free pattern by Pearl Soho. I love a free pattern. I had some yarn to use up and I just fancied making a shawl. So yeah, that's where this was born. This is in my lovely sort of bag with all sort of hot water bottles and kettles and flasks and things. I think this was a present from Sari. And this is the Bell and Poppet from Nottingham. Made by Bell and Poppet. I don't know if they're still making bags. It's got beautiful flowers on the inside. So that's in there. And I'm knitting this in some yarn I bought ages and ages ago, 3 or 4 years ago now, maybe even longer actually. Might have even just been just after COVID. It's not my colour actually. I bought it. I'm actually going to gift this shawl, but this isn't my colour. It's too warm for my skin. But this is Erica Knight, British Blue 100, pure British Blue Faced Leicester 100% wool. Erica Knight. Yeah, like I say, it's in this sort of, I'm trying to compare it to that. It's very similar. This is I've got some beige things, and this is just ever so slightly on the warm side of what I think my skin can tolerate. My colouring can tolerate, not my skin. And I am only in the early stages of this. I think it's a 3 skein shawl. I mean, I guess you could just keep going or do less depending on what you've got, but I have got about 4 skeins. So I will see what happens when I get there. It's on a bit of a short cable to show you properly. 4mm needles, I'm knitting it to pattern. And this is what I have so far. So you start off at the bottom here with a little garter tab. you do some, you increase, it's a free pattern so it won't matter, so you increase either side of this central bit and you increase on every knit row, and you also increase along the side with yarn overs every knit row as well. It's hard to show, but there are some sort of pretty yarn overs along the edge, and then every however many rows it tells you to, you do a twisted rib detail, and then you do more stockinette, another twisted rib detail, more stockinette, and you just carry on in that vein. And it's a large triangle shaped shawl, as you can see from that half. Really loving it. This is quite a rustic wool. It'll be so warm. I hope the person that I'm gifting it to loves the wool, but even if they don't, it's on your back, isn't it? You just sit in an armchair, put it on your back, no one has to see you. It will definitely keep you warm. Really enjoying this pattern, and you can't beat a free shawl pattern, can you really? And this yarn's knitting up beautifully. You can see how that twisted rib, really, really beautiful. I would knit with that yarn again actually, so it's quite possible I will buy more of that in the future, but in a more suitable colour for my skin tone. That is that one, and I only have one more work in progress, and that's my field day cardigan. So I knitted a field day cardigan that I'd finished in the last episode, and that was in Saya Jensen yarn, and that was knitted to pattern. It was slightly cropped, had buttons down the front. Sorry, it's a butterfly in the garden, and it's distracting me. Slightly cropped, buttons down the front, knitted exactly to pattern. I say exactly to pattern, my gauge is well off, but I knitted it as it should look. And then I'd cast on the second one that I was going to knit in exactly the same way, but I was going to do no buttons and make it a lot longer, just so it's more of a throw over cardigan than an actual smart sort of do up cardigan. And I have actually very, very nearly finished it. I finished the body, I finished the sleeves, almost. I'll come to that in a minute. I just have to sort of tidy up the collar, sew in my ends and block it, which I'm going to do today, which is why I'm recording today, because I want to block it, but I wanted to show you first before I did that. So let me, where should we start? What am I knitting it in? I'm knitting this in John Arbon Knit by Numbers DK. There it is, and it is Knit by Numbers 11, and it's 50% Blue Face Leicester and 50% Falklands Merino, 223 meters per 100 grams. You can see that. And I had 6 skeins because I knew I wanted to make something ginormous with it. I am knitting this on 4.5mm needles. They're not here because I've just cast off last night. 4.5mm needles, and absolutely loved it. Let me show you. Let me put it on and show you, and then I can talk about it. It's really hot, so it's not going to stay on. Let me come back here. Off the chair slightly. So you can see it's got this really, the blocking's just going to make this sit beautifully, but you've got this really beautiful rib which is knitted at the same time. You knit that on the same needle at the same time. You've got the short rows which make up the back, so you knit the back panel first, then you pick up you do the back row panel first with short rows, then you pick up on the shoulders, knit down the front, join in the round, and then just keep knitting and purling. I've got 2 sleeves. They're a tiny bit short. Now I know this is going to block. I'm tempted to, I can't decide whether or not to block it and see what happens, or cut it and just knit the rib another inch. I've got, how much yarn have I got left on the bottom? That's baking. Excuse me. I've only got this much left, so I've got enough to knit another inch on each cuff, and I think I'll prefer it better if I do, because I've knitted a really long rib on the bottom. It's about 5 inches, that is. And as you can see, this hits me exactly where I wanted it to. Mid-thigh, below my bum, and it's going to look lovely with a pair of jeans and cardigan, as you know, jeans and a top, or it's when I go to work and I've got my smart trousers on and a blouse or a shirt. This is going to look really, really lovely, and I've got to take it off. I'm absolutely bacon. Bring that chair back in, sorry for all the chair scraping noises. So I love it. Look at this is a really beautiful yarn. It's incredibly soft, much softer than the Ensign that I knitted my last one in. Really, really soft. You can see it's probably going to peel a little bit, but I don't mind. I don't mind. It's just a casual cardigan, really. And it's the first sort of really long garment I've ever knitted. So warm. I just can't wait for winter so I can properly wear this. I'm hoping the weather will be cool enough next week so I can wear it to work. So yeah, I've knitted it in 4.5mm needles on a DK yarn, and my gauge is out. I think I measured it yesterday. I can't remember what it's supposed to be. What does it say on the pattern? Does it how I printed that bit off? That's the question. Sleeves. Oh, it's got measurements and everything on here. I haven't even done any of that on the schematic. I probably should have measured some of that. Anyway, I'm really happy with the fit. I knitted the third size, the medium, but my gauge is big. So I think I've ended up with the large. The gauge should be 22 stitches and mine's 19. So, but yeah, like I say, I knitted the medium and I've ended up with a large, which isn't a problem because, and I'm really happy with the fabric. I don't think, like, I wouldn't have wanted to have knitted that on smaller needles. It's got a beautiful drape to it. It would have been too thick and too dense if I'd knitted that on smaller needles. So I'm really happy with the gauge that I was knitting it at. I just adjusted. So in the pattern, it gives you measurements to knit. It says either knit 20 rows or 5 inches or whatever. I know, whatever the equivalent is. So I just knitted it, instead of knitting by the rows suggested, I knitted it by the length suggested. And that came out with a cardigan that fits me absolutely perfectly. I'm really, really happy with it. I still have to knit this little bit of the collar together because the way that it's knitted, although you knit it at the same time, you've got this little gap at the top. So I've got to knit that on. I've got to potentially extend the sleeves. I don't think I'll be happy if I don't do it. So extend the sleeves by about another inch, and then sew in the ends and block it, and that will be done. I will try and show it on the next podcast blocked. If it's cool enough, I might even wear it. But I'm really, really happy with that. It's a really easy pattern to knit, really enjoyable. It knitted up super quick, as you know. So last time, there we go, where was I last time? So this is about 3.5 weeks ago. Bear in mind, it's the summer holidays, and I've had quite a bit of time to knit. But because my gauge was quite big, it did sort of go relatively quickly. So last time I'd done my back panel, I'd done that front panel, and I was this far down the second front panel. And as you can see, I've knitted the whole rest of the cardigan. So really happy with that. Can't wait to wear it. I'll put details on my Ravelry page of the sort of changes I made. But really all I did is omit the buttonholes and knit it much longer. But if you want to knit this pattern, I can really recommend it. I want it in lots of different colours. It's a really good pattern, but I know there are other cardigan patterns out there and I can't just keep knitting the same one. So I have 2 field day cardigans, and that's a pattern by Ozetta, Hayley Smedley. Sorry, I didn't say that at the beginning. I'll link everything in the description box below. But yeah, it's a pattern by Ozetta, and I have 2, but they are both very different. So, you can knit it how you like, can't you? That's why we knit, isn't it? So we can be flexible. Right, so that is all of my works in progress. I do have another work in progress, but I haven't touched it, but it is in my autumn plans. So I suppose I ought to talk about that next. So let's move on to autumn plans. I do have a couple of acquisitions, which I'll talk about at the end as well, but literally like 2 balls of yarn, two skeins of yarn, not much. Okay, autumn plans. So I think I talked about this, maybe not in my last podcast, but the podcast before. And this is the Rivendell Pullover by Sari Nordland. I cast this on now, I think it was last winter. It could have been the winter before. I can't actually remember whether I've had this sitting on on hold for 1 or 2 years. I'm sure it was last year. I don't remember. I really don't remember. Anyway, this is the Rivendell by Sari Nordland. And yeah, this is where we're at the moment. So it's got this, it's a V-neck sweater. It's got this really beautiful cable detail running down there, running around the V. I have knit the body. It's going to be slightly cropped, but it'll stretch out a bit because it's moss stitch. It's got a lot of give in it. Moss stitch, seed stitch, I'm not quite sure. It's in Holst Garn Supersoft, so it feels really crunkly and rough, but I know I've knitted with this before and it really softens up once washed. And this is on the Cranberry colourway. Yeah, it's Holst Supersoft. I'm knitting it off of 2 cones. I knitted my Christmas sweater out of this a couple of years ago. And this is what was left over, and it's enough to do another sweater. I've still got to do the collar. I've picked up for the first sleeve, and there is a beautiful cable, same cable detail that runs down the top of the sleeve. And I think I just stopped because I just had enough of seed stitch. But I really do want to wear this. It is a good colour on me, burgundy, cranberry burgundy, whatever you want to call it. This yarn is absolutely beautiful. It's quite, you can't really see it, but it's quite multi-tonal. Yeah, but anyway, I can't wait to wear this. I'm knitting it to pattern on 3.5 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter needles, and it's going to be beautiful. So that is one of my autumn plans. Pick that up and at least get a sleeve finished, even if I don't finish it. But pick it up, try and get an inch done a week or something like that, 2 inches a week. I don't know. I've got to find a way to get this done because I do want the finished item. And so I need to work on this and get this done. Right, so that's the Rivendell by Sari Nordland. That's the only thing that is partially started. Everything else I haven't started yet. So let's start with these because they're right in front of me. So I want to make a pair of Scandinavian style mittens, colour work mittens. Latvian, Norwegian, I don't know. I haven't looked at patterns yet. Something similar to this. I'll put a picture up. This isn't the one I've chosen. I haven't looked yet. But I bought this yarn at Flock, the Big Flock, which was a yarn show in Bristol that I went to in May. And this is, sorry, the sun's starting to come around now, so I hope that doesn't affect anything. And this is Wool Decanted in their Vintage 23 base, which is, a delicious blend of wool fibres from Polwarth, Romney and Black Shetland sheep, 100% British wool. There we go, blah, blah, blah. It's worsted spun. This is in the natural grey. This is in the natural grey, and this is in Storm. As you can see, it's like a beige and a grey. It's 4-ply, 225 meters per 50 grams. So it's good meterage. Anyway, so yeah, this is what I'm planning to knit my mittens out of. So I haven't got a pattern for that yet, but I really want a pair, and these are going to be it. If anyone has any recommendations for ones that they've knitted before, where the pattern is really well written, and yeah, any that you can recommend, please pop it in the comments below. These won't sort of be, I probably won't start these till sort of October, November time when it's a bit cooler. So if you've got any recommendations, please pop them below. My next plan is for, where is it? There it is. Is it in that bag? Got a bag somewhere. No. This bag. Yes. My next plan is for a pair of socks that I'll actually be starting on the 1st of September. Cherie and I, every time we go to a yarn show, we buy a skein of yarn. We either buy a matching skein or one from the same dyer. Previously, the last one we bought the same skein that we're going to do 50 grams of each and make a pair of shorty socks. At the Southern Wool Show in Newbury last September, we both bought a skein of Opal yarn. and different skeins, but we both got Opal. This is the one I bought. Really beautiful colours, purples, like corals, greens, etc. And we are both going to cast this on the 1st of September. Sari, I think, got like a browny, blacky, whitey one, can't remember. But yeah, it's colourway 11250. And looking forward to knitting those up. They'll just be vanilla socks for me. I've got them all ready to go in my Moo and Mouse bag. Moo and Mouse bag I got a couple of years ago. Really, I love this bag. It's like my favourite autumn bag. I've got my TPNs, my 2.5mm DPNs ready to rock and roll, and there will just be a pair of vanilla socks for me. So that is the next plan, and that will be cast on next week. Let's get those out of the way, and then I can show you other things. For my birthday, which was at the end of July, I got a voucher for Knitting for Olive from my parents, and I had to put some of my own money towards it, because Knitting for Olive is not, it's not the most expensive yarn, but it's not the cheapest, but it is really nice. And I bought, here we go, let's get those out, enough skeins to make the Ebba sweater by Sari Nordland. When she released this last year, I'll put a picture in here, the first thing I saw when I looked at it was red, and I was like, oh, that would make a really beautiful red sweater. So this is going to be my Christmas sweater, and I bought it in the Knitting for Olive colourways. So I've got the Knitting for Olive Merino in the colour Cranberry. Oh, the lighting, the sun's starting to come in now. I don't know if that makes the colour any worse. Where should we go? No, let's go back here. In the colour Cranberry, which is this really beautiful red. And then I'm going to pair that with Redcurrant, not Cranberry, Redcurrant. And I'm going to pair that with the Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair, also in Redcurrant. You can see that this is much more orange than this one. Now this is my colour. I don't do warm colours, but together I'm confident that it will be the perfect red to make the Ebba sweater for my Christmas sweater this year. So I've got enough. I'm going to size up slightly because with Sari Nordland's patterns, I tend to, if I knit my right size, they tend to come up small. So I'm going to size up, but I'm going to make, I bought enough to do that with the Knitting for Olive. So I'm going to have a beautiful red sweater to wear. So that is my plan for that one. I have bought the pattern, but I haven't looked at it yet. I'm waiting until I've finished my field day cardigan completely, and that will be my next cast on. So quite possibly this afternoon. Does that count as autumn if it's still in August? Yeah, it does. So see, now this is where I'm not quite sure. So I've got one more plan to show you, potentially two. And these are just my definite plans. I'm not overcommitting. I will always knit socks throughout the season. I knit socks for my family for Christmas. I'll probably knit myself. I've got at least 2, if not 3 sweaters here, so that will probably keep me going. I'll probably knit another mitten. I might even knit a hat. I don't know. There might be other things coming up, but these are my definite concrete plans that I have yarn for. So I knitted my Gansey, which I showed you in the last episode, and that was knitted on Frangipani yarn. It's a 5-ply, not a 4-ply. It still feels like 4-ply. I mean, I knitted that sweater on 2.25mm needles. It nearly killed me. But it's a 5-ply yarn, so it doesn't, that was a really tight gauge. I wouldn't knit on that, on those size needles with that yarn ever again. However, we had the option to buy some more skeins of yarn from Frangipani at a slight discount because we bought them on bulk. So I got 2 more colourways. So I got this beautiful one. So this is Frangipani 5-ply Guernsey wool, 100% pure British wool from sheep raised in the English countryside, worsted, spun and dyed in Yorkshire. And this colourway, it doesn't, does it say inside? Yes, it, Herring Girl Pink. I love that. These are 500 gram cones, 1,098 metres, 1,200 yards. Herring Girl Pink. So really, really beautiful. It's like a very light salmony pink. I don't know if that's enough to knit a sweater on its own. but I'll have to do some Ravelry hunting. And then I've got this one, which is the same yarn, but it's in Falmouth Navy. So it's a dark navy. You can see that, really beautiful. So my original plan was to knit the, can't remember the name of it, Lacy Loop sweater by Other Loops in both of these colours. I'll put a picture up here, predominantly in the dark with the pink stripe. That was my original plan. And I still like that plan, but then I was thinking, can I get two completely different sweaters out of them? And I really like the Cambersan sweater. I can't remember who it's by. Put it on the screen, put a picture up here. And I thought that would look lovely in this pink. Really, it's not really my pink. Close to my face. I'm much better with cooler colours and a slightly darker pink. But as a pale pink, it would look really, really beautiful in that sweater would look really beautiful in this. The cables, I think, would show up incredibly. And then I could do something else with this. But I don't know if I've got enough meterage. I'm going to have a look and see if I have. If I haven't, I'm going to stick to the Other Loops plan. And if I have, I don't even know what yarn it takes. I may have to hold this something. It might even be that I hold this, find a mohair to match to make that sweater. I haven't looked at them at all. They're just patterns that I really want to make. And if not, I will find some other yarn to make it with. So yeah, let's go with the Other Loops, and I think that's going to work. But I am going to look at what the yardage would be for that Cambersan sweater and see if I can make that as well. So those are my concrete plans. Oh, I better show you this as well, actually. This is the wool that Sari and I bought at the last yarn show we went to. It's by Loom wool. It's Corriedale sock in the colour Milk Tea. So it's really beautiful, light, faded out tea colour, I suppose. And we're going to halve this, and I'm going to make shorty cable socks. I'm just going to come up with a cable. I just want my cable to run down the front of the sock and the foot, not around the back at all. So a nice wide cable that just goes all the way down the foot, but isn't too thick, not too protruding. So yeah, I've got to try some different cables out and see what I like. But so I've got to cake that up and split it so we've got half each. And that's another definite plan. And that's it for my definite plans. So that's it for my works in progress, my definite autumn plans. And yeah, and hopefully by the time I come back, which should be October half term, so towards the end of October, beginning of November, I should have some of these things cast on and underway, possibly even finished. So that's quite exciting. I've only got 2 acquisitions. If you're not interested, then thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I hope you have a lovely autumn and you have some exciting things coming up. I'll do a little bit of chat after I've shown these sort of skeins of yarn. But yeah, hope you have a lovely autumn. But my 2 acquisitions are quite exciting. Obviously, I've got the Lay Family yarn September colourway for the Secret Santa sock club, but I'm not going to show you that. I'll show you that in the next one because it will be in my blanket by the next time I show you. But something very exciting happened a month or two ago, and that is that Stripy Cat yarns started dyeing again. She used to dye before. She's not been dyeing for a year or 2 maybe, and she stopped for whatever reason, but she has come back and she does the most beautiful self-striping sock yarns. My favourite colourway ever of hers is the Muppets Christmas Carol, which is my favourite Christmas movie ever. And I knitted myself up a pair of socks in the Muppets Christmas Carol sockway, and they're my favourite socks. So I hope she repeats that again this Christmas, because I will be buying a second skein of yarn just to keep in my stash for when those ones get hole in. And then I'm like, I've always got another skein of Muppets Christmas Carol as a backup. But I decided to, but she launched again. She's got another launch, I think maybe it's just happened this weekend or coming up. But she did a launch at the end of July, and I bought myself 2 skeins. So here she is, his Stripy Cat yarns. Lovely Sarah. They're all standard 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. You get a 20 gram mini. You get a 50 gram main colour and a 20-gram mini, which is enough for me to knit a pair of socks. So I got this one, which is in the colour Northern Lights. Look at that, look at the neon in that. She does show you what they look like knitted up so you can see. So really beautiful blues, purples, turquoise, grey and like bright green. So I can't wait to knit that one up. And the other one is in the colourway Luna. I don't watch Harry Potter. I thought this was something to do with the moon. Apparently it's something to do with Harry Potter. And this one is in like purples, turquoise, mint green, pale pink with the purple mini. That's going to be beautiful. So I've got 2 pairs of stripy socks at some point to knit up for myself as well. So that's the knitting content stuff, crochet stuff done. Little bit of life. It's been a relatively busy summer. We've been busy every weekend. We went down to my aunt's to stay on the east of England, on the coast down there. We went to Somerset. I think, had we done that when I last recorded? We'd already done that when I last recorded. Been up to Somerset, up to Breen and stayed up there. My daughter went to a music festival in Cornwall called Boardmasters. You might have heard of it if you're local. That was a bit nerve-wracking. It's the first time that she'd been away to do something like that. And I know festivals can be quite scary, but in other life news, she is going to be 18 in the middle of October. So I've got to let her go and do these things. She saved for it, paid for it herself. She came back alive. That's all I can ask for. I just didn't think about it very much while she was away. I sort of compartmentalised it, put it back here. And then when she came back, I asked all the questions and it was all fine because she was back alive. So it doesn't really matter what happened because she came back fine. And as it was, she had a brilliant time. Nothing nefarious happened. It was all good. And so yes, so she's 18 in October. So we've got quite a lot happening in the next couple of months. Like I say, I'm back to work next week. I'm going to see Hamilton at the theatre on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that. Not really sure what to expect, but I've heard lots of good reviews about it. So looking forward to seeing Hamilton. Saturday, 2 days ago, I actually went to see The Thursday Murder Club, which is a book by Richard Osman, but it's been made into a film. It's coming out on Netflix soon, but I went to see it at the cinema and it was absolutely brilliant. I hadn't read the book, but I can highly recommend seeing the film. Either if you have or haven't read the book, it really doesn't matter. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I hope that they now make the other books in the series into films and I can then go and watch those. We've got, in September, my husband's got some scout camps to go to, and my youngest daughter will be doing her 11 plus exams so she can enter grammar school. My other 2 daughters also did the exams and both went to grammar school. It's their choice. The 2 grammar schools that we have local to us are actually the closest schools to our house, so they can walk there. It kind of makes sense. There are lots of other schools where I live, but in the city that I live in, and they had, we do the open evenings and we look round and they all chose to go, well, the eldest chose to go there and the others probably just want to follow in her footsteps. So she'll be sitting her exams in September to find out, and then we can find out whether or not she'll be able to go to grammar school or whether she'll have to go to a different one. And like I said, my daughter's 18, so I've got to go and, sort out presents. What we're going to do on the day. We're going to take her for a drink somewhere. We've got a meal booked on the day after her birthday at the weekend. Some family coming, so that'll be really nice. And and then it'll be sort of half term. Oh, I've got a hen do to go to. My best friend at work and one of my close friends anyway is getting married in October. So we've got she's booked a chalet or a house down in Cornwall for us to spend the weekend in, and I think there's 5 of us going, so whole weekend there in the beginning of October, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think that's it. I think that's all that's going on in my life. I've read a few more books. And, what am I reading at the moment? it was one of the Amazon, because I'm Kindle Unlimited or because I'm part of Amazon, I get a free book every month. And I'm currently reading that. So I'll put that on screen. Name of it, I can't remember what it's called. I've only just started it yesterday. I'm like a few pages in. So I'll try and put the name of that on screen if I remember. And that's it really. I'm looking forward to the World Athletic Championships coming up in September. I do enjoy watching the athletics. And yeah, I'm just babbling now. So yeah, back to work in a week. It's an 8-week term. It's the longest term of the year. It's the hardest term of the year. There's a lot going on and it's my least favourite. Although autumn is my favourite season, it's my least favourite term at work because it's the longest, because it's the most boring. Nothing really happens. Once we get past half term in October, November, then it's like it's all downfall to Christmas and all the fun stuff happens. But it's my least favourite term at work, but I'll be busy and it'll fly by, and before we know it I'll be panicking about buying Christmas presents because I haven't bought any yet, and that's not like me. I'm normally quite an early buyer, so I've got to start getting my bottom in gear and buy some of those. Right, I'll say goodbye because I'm waffling now, but thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll be back in October, that's the plan, and yeah, let me know what your plans are for autumn. What are you planning on knitting? I like to know what other people are knitting because it gives me ideas for what I might do, and you know, maybe if you're knitting one of the same things as me, maybe we can do a mini knit along. Just sort of, you know, let me know in the comments, contact me, and we'll go from there. But have a lovely start to autumn and I will see you soon. Bye.